Kyle and Steve are walking down a road because they have no car. Every day when they walk by a certain house, they see a beaten down Mercedes. It's bad. It's broken down, doesn't run, rusted. It's beat to all hell. So one day Kyle has the idea to knock on the door. A man opens up and after a little talking gives the Mercedes to Kyle for free. Kyle and Steve walk away ecstatic. They talk about all the places they can go with the new car. All the time they're going to save, not having to walk to work. The next day, Kyle picks the car up from the guy's house and tows it home to his house. He goes outside and repairs the car while sometimes his friend Steve shows up and watches. After Kyle buys all the parts, makes some of the parts himself, gets the car running pretty good, he and Steve start driving everywhere, with Kyle driving and Steve in the passenger seat. A year goes by and Kyle started a taxi business. While Kyle is driving people to their destinations, Steve decides to ride along for about half of the journeys. Kyle makes some money and even loans the car to Steve a few times on his days off at the taxi service. A year in, the Mercedes looks as good as new. It's so nice people love calling Kyle for rides. Some of them really like Steve riding along, but some start to hate him. Though, time ticks by and Kyle and Steve still talk about how awesome this thing they've done is. One day, Kyle gives a ride to a famous atheist named Aaron Ra. After the ride, Aaron shares a picture of him inside Kyle's taxi on Instagram, and it goes viral. Now Kyle is getting all kinds of business because people want to ride in that taxi. Kyle offers Aaron to give rides for free to increase the business, and it works great. Though one day, Steve gets in an argument with Aaron. Aaron politely explains his side. Steve starts yelling at Aaron. A day later, Aaron calls Kyle to tell him that Steve has been calling and texting Aaron constantly. Steve even got some of his friends to call and argue with Aaron. Aaron finally has had enough and calls Kyle to tell him that he won't be riding in his taxi anymore, with Steve being there the only issue. Kyle talks to Steve, and Steve promises to never do it again. Then, one day, Kyle goes into a gas station to pay for some Starbursts. While Kyle is inside of the gas station, Steve turns around to talk to the passenger, Katie Joy, in the back seat. He looks her dead in the eye, and in a soft, quiet voice, propositions her for nookie, then talks about his sexual prowess and its size. Katie is disgusted, but finishes the ride so as not to cause any issues and stir things up. Later, Katie calls Kyle to tell him what happened and says she will never go around Steve again. Katie is married and has never given any indication to Steve that she was interested or that it was appropriate to do that to her. After this happens, Steve tells Kyle that he wants to make sure that if they ever have an argument or stop talking, that he will be able to use the car still. After all, he was there in the beginning. He even handed Kyle tools while Kyle was fixing the car and had some of his friends use the taxi service. So Kyle went and got some paperwork from his guy. He offered Steve to have some basic interest in the company for his part, although it being small and not a requirement for Kyle to do so. Kyle Moore did this just to be nice to his friend. But Kyle was shocked when Steve exclaimed, "I can't have a taxi business in my name. It will affect my health insurance and benefit payments, along with other things." So Kyle, after trying many times to get Steve to sign these papers, after all, Steve could just do the right thing and have a stake in the business and use his earnings to pay for health insurance and living costs. But no matter how Kyle tried, Steve chose to continue on riding in the passenger seat less often without signing any papers at all. After Kyle had enough of Steve harassing several more women on the job and chasing away many more customers, Kyle told Steve he would no longer be able to ride or drive anyone ever again for their business. But Kyle tried to be nice and at least offer that a couple days a week Steve could drive his friend Reds to Soy Burger King to get his soy shakes. But only when Kyle was off work, when the Mercedes wasn't being used. Steve exploded, with his friends Reds drinking a soy shake in the back seat, and claimed that all along he owned half the business, and that Kyle was a liar and a criminal, all along, the whole time. So the question I ask you is, who gets the business? How much does Steve get? And what is Steve legally owed? The truth of non sequitur.